the bat, the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 739, Evil Dead Risible.
Evil Dead 5?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't count. I don't
Have you
care.
seen all the Evil Deads?
No.
I think you count.
No, watch. 1, 3,
Oh, I already screwed it up.
L. I'm awful at it.
That's a Roman numeral. That counts.
Oh, touche.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, he's Italian.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
It's not an
that-
Italian numeral.
Yeah, is that how that
Well,
works?
that's in Rome.
I guess that's fair.
We didn't
Yeah.
say it was good at geography either.
I guess let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
I feel like at this point he can go.
It's me. It's Matt.
From the Real Spoilers Patreon
That's right. This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
and country music superstar.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Matt F
Garth
Basler.
Brooks, look out, buddy.
Yeah. That's a very dated country
That dude
reference.
still sells out
He
arenas,
still
though.
sells out arenas, but he's not putting up hits.
Yeah, it's really-
Morgan Wallen, look out.
Yes.
Wow.
Whoa.
See,
Don't.
maybe
We're going to
not.
have to get the chicken
Not
nuggets
that one.
ready.
There's a
boy.
path to success that I've seen laid out before me,
and so
and I've come here today
to be racist.
to enact step one. So be ready for it. Get that chicken ready.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's really.
I always count on it.
Usually.
It's always ready.
You always. I feel like in the 10 years we've been doing this, it's gotten better.
It's gotten better, but you do this thing where if you hear someone else curse, like if Tom curses,
Game on.
something, the floodgates open,
like,
and
well, I
then
guess
you,
it's okay. I
you
can't
curse-
get yelled at for
you
it
curse-
anymore.
You curse 20 more times after that, and I'm like, what? Like you did get
Nope.
better, but if Tom says the F word, Joe, the rest of the episode
Hey.
is like,
See, I'll do one well-placed one, and then I'm
Yeah.
done.
Nope.
But
And Joe
you're
is
just
the-
off to the races, unlike Matt, who's off to the racists.
Very different.
See?
Very different.
So, I never said my name. I'm Tom.
Perfect.
So, before we get into everything, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcast, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That's always helpful and good for our egos. Lord
That we
knows
don't have
need
any.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers. We're hoping you will share an episode. It's just the easiest, simplest thing you can do to help us out. Put us in your feed. Maybe someone else will stumble upon us. People who were kind enough to share an episode this week include Phil Timon, Librarian Cynthia, Travis Tewitt, Ralph Tribble, Chris Sanders, Gabrielle Lugo, Chris Falls, Julian Jordan, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Chris Magic Man, Nerds at Night Gaming, Dissect That Film, Heather Sachs, Christopher Rex, Josh Rosen, Edit Photo Gamer, David Rojas, Spoiler Piece Theater, Mike and Oscar, Batman Rye Guy, Colby Mack, Binge Movies, Invasion of the Remake, Ronnie Castle, Nostalgia Cast, In Session Film, Ryan Terry, Matt Neglia, and Feelin' Film. So thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. And if you like what you hear today, you're going to want more Matt Basler in
Who
your
wouldn't?
life. And the best way to do that, because you don't want to listen to his own show.
Correct.
You
Well-
don't want to do that.
Hold on.
But you can check out the Real Spoilers Patreon.
That's my show. That's my podcast.
But no, I didn't mean the one that has your name in it that's free. They should go listen to the one where they have to give us money.
I'm not talking about the spin-offs.
Okay.
yeah, that's
Real Spoilers Patreon. That's me and Joe's horror movie podcast.
That's right. That's right. That Kevin has somehow usurped, and now we're doing the MCU Phase 1.
It's upsetting.
It is a little
but,
bit. We were on a roll for a while.
Yeah.
And then
It's the return of the king, baby. I started that thing.
So yeah, there's all that. Let's dig in.
Oh, thank God this movie was an hour and a half. Only 90 minutes.
So you could see it twice in one afternoon.
I
Did you not like this movie?
there were things that I liked about this movie.
Interesting. I would have thought you would have liked
I
this movie.
thought I would have too,
'Cause
because
my-
I love this
My
franchise.
thought coming out of this movie, because I did not like this movie.
Okay.
I mean, I was indifferent on this movie, but I just thought, if you like those sorts of things, you will like this sort of thing. Like, it seemed like it did all the things.
Here's
There was
the
blood, and people screamed, and there's a
I will
creepy
say
lady.
I had a fantastic audience
Yeah.
to see this with. There were multiple people around me. There was one gal in the back of the theater that, I mean, audibly screamed at like the parts where I was
She
like,
may have been a
all right,
Deadite.
it's true. Yeah, right.
Did you hear her reading incantations?
I did
before
not.
the-
Did you see that at the Draft House? It wasn't the
No.
one in St. Louis, but they had a guy who was like introducing the movie, and he was like, "Let's all just read from this book." But they had like people and like actors
That's
in the
fun.
audience that would turn.
Oh my gosh, that's fun.
as he was reading the book.
That's a great publicity stunt.
If you are a subscriber of the Patreon, you know that Kevin, Matt, and myself did this series for the. Were you on all of them?
I don't think I was on all of. I didn't do the show. When you guys
We
did
only
the
did
first
one season
right?
of it.
I was like, I can't get it done in time. Matt went and binged the whole thing, and I'm like, I just can't do it. And then Joe's like, Oh,
You're only doing season one.
It's fine.
like
It's
I've seen
fine.
season 1. I could have done that.
I think
but-
Matt's just reading the Wikipedia recaps.
You know
don't
what?
think he's-
I'm not so sure that's true.
It would probably work maybe better. By the time we get to talking about it, I don't remember anything about it.
So there is a lot of love for this franchise. I think this franchise is a lot of fun. It does take an interesting, Evil Dead 1 is a horror movie. I don't think they're trying to be goofy. Evil Dead 2 and then...
But people
Army of-
laughed, and so they were like, "Yeah, we meant to do that."
Right.
Is Evil Dead 1 the one where Ash is getting his ass kicked the whole time, or was that 2?
That's all of them.
Well, I know, but remember when we were talking about it, we're like, man, Ash is like
2.
falling into bookcases.
That's
and
the
that's-
one
it is
where,
just-
plywood particle board bookcases fall on him and he just can't get it off.
Yeah.
He's
Yes,
like,
that is definitely 2.
Okay.
2 is a Looney Tunes episode.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best way to describe it. 3 is a straight up action comedy. They reboot it in
2013.
13.
and that is a straight up not funny, gross
really good horror movie.
horror
Yeah.
flick. They go back to the roots. And this there's something missing with this one that I can't figure out what it
Ash.
is. But Evil
I
Dead
know.
the remake didn't have Ash.
I know.
But it did have Mia.
Yeah.
And it had characters, and I think that is the problem with this one is the supporting cast. The 2 kids in this movie are terrible. They are some of the worst. Like, I'm like, when they keep repeating each other's names over and over, I was like, I don't need this. Like, why do you keep calling him Dan? I don't care that his name is. He's gonna die. Like, I don't give a sorry. So I think that was my problem here. I will say the practical effects are pretty fantastic. There's not a lot. There is digital stuff here, but I think they kept it pretty practical. But no, I was not a huge fan of this movie.
I thought the Deadite kids were great. I thought
When
that
they
was,
turned into Deadites, they were fine.
I thought that was really interesting because we've never seen that in the Evil Dead. They've never turned kids into Deadites, and I thought it was creepy. I thought they all did a good job. Again, I thought the practical effects looked really good. I liked it. It was different. The cool thing about it is that these movies usually take place in a cabin.
Oh, I think it's yes,
And
that's true.
I think it's cool that they still told a self-contained story. I mean, if anyone's like, "Oh, it just took place in this thing," it's like, well, that's what these movies do. They go to a cabin. It takes place in
claustrophobic.
And,
Yeah.
and cost conscious.
Very much
Right?
so.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, this movie was supposed to be on streaming.
Oh, was it
This
really?
was supposed to be an
Right.
HBO Max movie.
That's right.
And they tested it, and it got a great reaction. So they were like, throw it in the theaters.
And you know what, though? When you look at it and you see it on the big screen, I mean, I know that streaming movies have gotten really good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like...
No, it
there's nothing
doesn't.
about it
Like-
where you go like, oh, that's a streaming budget because of blah, blah,
No,
blah.
it
only
just-
thing-
looked like a
I think the
theatrical
only thing that
release.
makes it a streaming budget is that it's basically one set.
Yeah.
I mean, it all takes place in one location.
Right.
Which is what the first movies
Which
would have
is
done
what this
anyway.
movie does anyway,
and
so, like, what
they
difference
wouldn't
does
have
it
been
make?
a streaming... The
No,
first,
I think being
If it's a $60 million movie, they would have just put it in a bigger
in
cabin.
a big... Yeah, right.
yeah,
Now it's at a lodge.
a dual.
resort cabin.
Yeah.
Instead of the cabin for the first movie, they put it in the cabin from the second movie.
That's right. Yeah, they got a little bit bigger of a
It's
budget.
like at a Jimmy Buffett resort. Which, man, a movie where they're killing Jimmy Buffett fans.
Oh, well.
That sounds
I am on board.
Yeah. So I really like that it's like, okay, so we're doing it's the same concept. We're stuck in this claustrophobic space, but now it's a high rise. It's like, that's something different. You got to use the elevator. You got a cool throwback to the first movie. You got the
Cool throwback to The Shining.
a cool Shining homage, which
Yeah.
I thought was well handled. You got to do cool stuff playing in that world, but you're still in that claustrophobic, like, they can't escape. There's nowhere to go. The power's out. They can't, they can't
I
get
have
out
no
of it.
issues with any of that. I did mention off mic that there's a movie called Demons 2 that's like it's not giallo, but it is like an Italian horror flick that is this movie. It's the exact same setup where you're in a high rise and people are being possessed by demons, and the higher you go, like there's just more and more and more of them.
We watched that Korean movie that was on Netflix with zombies where they're in a
Yes.
high rise.
What was that?
That was a really fun
It was
Live?
a Korean zombie movie.
Yeah.
That's what they called
Sorry,
it.
was it called like
It
Live?
was called Live.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good flick.
Yeah.
So it's just I do like the idea of them being stuck in the high rise and they can't, the idea that like the stairs are now gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, all right, that's
And,
a
like-
little
Like the bridge.
right.
And my main point is just that they didn't just go, oh, we're back at the cat. Here's a new group in the cabin.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of appreciate that these movies can live on their own and show how a new group in a new setting can get possessed by the Deadites. And I like it. I like changing the setting, but at the core, it still feels like an Evil Dead movie because you've got
It does.
the book, you've got the Deadites, you've got obviously the gore and the kills and throwing
There's a
up stuff.
chainsaw.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
like,
a line that I was like,
the worst part about this movie, aside from my experience, which I can tell you a story
Oh.
about that.
Oh,
but
boy.
the worst part of this movie was the lines, the delivery of the lines that we all know for fan service.
sure.
I mean,
The come get some line where I was like, but that's in Army of Darkness, right? He doesn't say that in Evil Dead
No,
2
right.
or 1.
Well, yeah, but I still consider that. I
I
mean,
don't know.
what?
But he doesn't say it in Evil Dead. He says it
What
in the
doesn't-
he says it in the weird outlier that
No,
this
they're
is
all
a-
Evil Dead movies. It
This
doesn't
isn't
matter
a-
if he says an
even
Army
a
of
remake,
Darkness.
right?
That's
Like,
true.
it's
I
a
guess it's
sequel.
not. Yeah. Wait, what?
Huh?
Did you say this isn't? Oh, you mean Army of Darkness?
No, I'm saying this isn't a remake.
Yeah,
This is
just another Evil Dead movie set in the universe.
No, this is. I think this is a reboot. The book is
No.
completely different.
No, there's
There's
three
three books.
Oh,
This is a different book. In the Army of Darkness, there's 3 books.
You're
This is a different
absolutely
one.
right. Okay.
That's why you have a
We
different
shouldn't
guy.
have to tell you.
well,
this,
it's one of those things that I don't.
Good Lord, man.
I didn't even think. I.
That's why it's a different guy. Which, if you thought it was a reboot, it would make sense. But no,
That's
this
why
is
I
like,
did think it was
And
a
you
reboot.
know, it's Bruce Campbell in there telling him
Yes.
not to
Yeah.
read it.
Which I think is great.
I read
And the
a-
director says that's not necessarily not Ash because he
Oh, he
time
did say-
travels
he
in
did-
Army
he
of
did say that?
Darkness.
Yeah.
So he can be back in the 1200s or whatever,
Okay.
telling him not
I
to.
should have
Seems
done
like
a little
he
research on
would
this.
have tried a little harder than to go,
yeah, it's
hey,
like-
come on, don't do that.
to be like, oh, I love that last Car to Clarksville song.
I should have listened to more of them.
Yeah.
He may we may have his mind changed by the end of this
No,
thing.
no. I went into this thinking that it was a reboot. I did not realize that they intended this for it to be.
And that's why I
a
thought it was
sequel.
cool, because I'm like, you can just start making Evil Dead movies that don't have to have Ash, don't have to be at the cabin, because especially if there's 3 books in their mythology, well,
Right.
this guy found it, it's in this part of the world. This guy, I thought that was really interesting how they built that out and didn't make this just a soft reboot or a reboot. It's like, no, here's another
got
Evil Dead story.
An easy prequel to this if you want to do how the book ended up
In the bank or whatever.
cellar or whatever.
Absolutely.
Cellar?
Yeah.
I guess high rises don't have cellars, but
But if they're cheap enough, it's like you can just keep making these, and horror fans are showing up at the theater, so it'll make its budget back.
Do it. Go ahead.
I loved it. I had a great time. I don't know, man. What do you want? I feel like I talk about it every single time. I don't care about reboots, sequels, nostalgia be darned.
Oh, thank you.
I just don't. I think this is the way you do remakes. I know we just talked about all that, but like whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think there's different kinds of movies that are intending to do different things. There's movies that are like, hey, this is completely original. We're doing a brand new thing. And sometimes people act like that's the only way you can make movies, right?
Sure.
If you're doing anything
Right.
derivative, it's automatically bad. But like Evil Dead or movies like this, it's kind of about the scares and the kills, and that's it. The
Dressing.
the dressing and what it's wrapped up in is just like you just have to do that to do those things.
You mean like getting the book in to a certain spot or whatever?
Yeah, and so somebody could have went and written Demons in a High Rise, and then everyone's gonna go, well, this is a ripoff of the Evil Dead or whatever. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they'd be like, oh, finally something original. But it's like not.
Well, we've seen this with Cloverfield movies, right? Like, oh, this movie wasn't a Cloverfield movie, but let's call it Cloverfield, and now it is.
And now we've got an extra 20 million because people think it's a Cloverfield
And
movie.
like Final Destination movies, right? That's a fun thing. Like that's a fun concept.
Like,
and
what if Rube Goldberg was a ghost?
And I wouldn't mind seeing another one of those.
You're gonna.
But you'd have to. You can't. Like, would people be more happy about that if it was called, Fated Death or something?
Well, certain people would, and then most people wouldn't watch it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why they tag on.
And half the
IPs
people
to
that did
things.
watch it would be like, it's a ripoff of Final Destination.
And I guess, I don't know. I just think I like Evil Dead, and maybe
Right.
I want to watch one every 3
That's what
to
I'm
4
saying.
years.
I think the struggle that I have is because you need, to me at least, you need at least one character. It doesn't have to be Ash, but it does have to be, because Mia, I think, is a fantastic character. I think her Jane Levy, right?
Yes.
That's the actress. She does an amazing job of playing two different versions of Mia, right? Like the drug addict Mia who's in recovery, the demon Mia who's possessed, and then the Mia at the end who is trying to fight her way out. The struggle that I had with this one is I didn't care about anybody, right? Like I know they tried to get you to care about Ellie. Is that the main character's name?
Ant.
Ant.
That's what we called
It
her.
wasn't Beth. I thought it
There's
was
Ant.
Beth.
There's
It is
Mother.
Beth. Yeah.
Beth
Ellie's
is
the
aunt.
mom.
Yeah. So Beth is like a roadie,
I guess.
and so
Guitar tech.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
she's-
Get it right,
she's-
Kevin.
Which is a roadie.
Also correct.
I bet guitar techs would be mad about that. I don't know.
The
but
road
I-
crew are roadies. I'm not saying
but I
they
th-
don't have real skills, but they're still roadies.
I think I'm making a joke that Ellie calls her, the demon Ellie calls her like a groupie.
groupie.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Living
called her-
Ellie did too.
That's true.
Called her a groupie slut.
She did because she
Hey,
is.
but how about Ellie though?
I mean,
Well, I haven't gotten there. I thought she was amazing.
she's great, but
That's the whole
but
thing,
you're not
right?
you don't want to root for the bad guy.
Well, I'm not saying I was rooting
No,
for
but
her.
Alyssa.
But she's amazing.
Scared of her.
But that was going to be my next point, Joe. Is like, okay, even if you don't care about Beth, who I thought was fine in the role that she was in, but Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, the mom.
She's on another level.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
That performance is so creepy.
I think-
just her smile.
But
and
that's
the makeup.
the best thing about her, I think, about that character is in the other ones, all of the demons and the deadites that we see, with the exception of Army of Darkness, I'm not going to count because only because it's not the same movie as these other three.
I don't really like it.
We know.
Do not tell anyone.
You recorded a podcast and said that you didn't.
not tell anyone.
so
But
gross.
honestly,
out there.
watching it again, I don't really like it.
That's when I lost all respect for Matt. It's my favorite. I love Army of Darkness so much.
so-
That
I
makes
think
sense to me. That actually makes sense to me.
I'm on Matt's side. I think it's dumb.
I think it's fun. I think it's a fun app. But Bruce Campbell sells that movie for me, right? Like I enjoy watching Bruce Campbell.
Right. It is the Bruce Campbell show. It's a Looney Tunes cartoon brought
Imagine
to
him
life.
in a good movie.
Jeez.
But in the first two Evil Dead, the only Deadite you really see is in the first one. It's Ash's girlfriend.
really like saying the plural Evil Dead is Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Evil Deads.
But
No, it's actually Evil Dead. It's actually
I was
going to
ask you guys, like the Deadites in the first two movies and the third that doesn't exist apparently.
It doesn't-
Like,
but, okay.
but like, did anyone love those Deadites? Like,
Well,
no,
what I'm-
they're fine. But like, this is the first Deadite where I've been like, this is a hell of a performance
That's what I'm saying.
from a Deadite.
And what's his girlfriend's name in the first one? I can't. I'm blanking.
Oh.
Anyway,
Alice?
Nah. His girlfriend in the first one, right? She's doing that like baby stuff.
Yes.
And it's a little like it's cool. It's whatever.
It's eerie.
It is,
Why-
but it's
Cheryl.
also
She
a
kinda
little
does.
embarrassing. Like
She
it's a
kind
little
of
bit.
does that though, with the
She
creepy
does.
crawlies in my tummy.
Oh, for
and
sure. But that's what I'm saying. I think that they that's a hard thing to pull off and still be kind of creepy.
It just
well, that was the
irritated me.
daughter. did
That
yeah.
was the
The
daughter,
daughter.
not the daughter.
So it was like she is
Both
younger.
of
so
them,
it
I
was like-
couldn't wait for both of those kids to die.
but the mom I felt like was all her like lines that can it's so easy to be embarrassing came off pretty creepy.
They were all creepy. She just did a phenomenal job. I've never seen her before
No.
in anything.
She has a very Yeah,
I'm not saying she has.
but
I mean, she has roles, but like I had never. She's in that show Vikings, which I never watched.
Okay, I know that's got an audience.
But I mean, she's been. I'm not saying she was the main character, but she's been in Devil Wears Prada in 2006. So like, she's been around. But, man,
the Deadites, the Deadites that we had seen in Evil Dead 1 and 2, I think Evil Dead the remake doubles down on the Deadites, right?
Yeah.
Like we see all of their friends, all of Mia's friends become Deadites.
But I couldn't tell you one where I was like, man, that was the Deadite from that movie, right?
Correct.
This movie,
she is front and center.
It's like, I mean, she's on the poster. Like, it's different because we've never had a main character Deadite.
Right.
They're always serviceable zombie creepers. They're fine. But like, I don't know. This was next level. So I think even though maybe your final girl isn't as memorable as Mia, you get a Deadite performance, which from beginning to end is
pretty great.
And it's creepy. It does exactly what it's setting out to do.
Watching her try to fight against it, I thought was insanely good when she realizes that she's in trouble and she's not going to make it. Like the line, like when she has a moment when she is vomited up this muck. I don't know how
dude,
else
that was so awesome that you could see it coming out of her. You know, when, like when they puke in movies a lot, it's the side. Man, you're like,
that's true. It was like on the side.
He did great practice. Everything from
Love
the
a good
blood, the elevator,
What's
the
my
puke.
what do I always complain about with puke in movies?
I don't
Not
know.
enough maggots.
Not enough maggots, of course, but that it's whenever you see them puke, it's always exactly one mouthful of puke.
Oh,
Yes.
sure.
Right? Like it's and
This is not it.
this is not that.
I was sick a few
Not
weeks
that.
ago. It does not work like that.
Did you make it through that pod? Did you make it? How long did you make it after the podcast?
I made it for a while because I was trying my best. I'm not going to do it, and felt like crap all day.
Yeah.
Did it, and I'm like, oh. I had a fever. I felt so bad. I threw up, and I'm like, oh, cool.
I should
I should have done that on
Should
the
have done that
podcast.
before the podcast at 9 a.m. I waited all day.
can they see the evil entity?
You can't. You see a wide shot, and
that's
it's
what I'm
invisible.
thinking.
So I think we were always right.
Yeah, that is the rumor.
And in this movie, if this was
Finally-
the only one I had ever seen, I'd say, pretty sure it's invisible.
Yes.
Right, but it's so funny if you listen to the podcast that I was a guest on their podcast. We talk about that because in the Evil Dead, you always the Raimi shot of the camera is the evil spirit tracking through the forest,
Right.
And we're like, and they get scared by something though, right? So like, if it's invisible, what are they getting scared of? Unless it's just a feeling, but they look at the invisible thing at the camera and are like, so it's like we presume it's invisible because we never see it, but we think they see something.
They see. Wait, you think they see something
No.
in this movie?
Evil Dead.
There's really no indication that it's
Invisible.
visible or invisible,
Yeah.
or I guess that it's
only-
invisible.
The only
really.
thing we see is, I guess, in those, it's breaking through trees, right? Like trees split and things
Hulk
move out of
does
the
that
way.
too.
That's
Hulk
true.
does that too.
So I mean.
We'll get into that on the Patreon. We'll talk about that later.
So it was funny that I thought of Matt during this one where it was a wide shot and you see people getting pushed, but by
and then
invisible
like
force.
in
something.
the elevator, it's like moving
she's
her
getting
hair,
yeah.
which to me implied very much like it's invisible.
Yeah.
And then
So,
then she's getting knocked around
I think
in that
and-
elevator,
and
Yeah.
it thinks she's cute. Playing with her hair.
Yeah.
blowing in her ear.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
thought she was cute before the whole Deadite thing.
I think she's.
I mean, she's attractive.
Guys,
That is
now,
a-
I
that is a
specifically,
deal breaker
I
for me.
specifically said,
mean-
I'm not gonna go down this road again. Talking about
Who's the monster, Matt?
women's
Who's the
looks.
monster?
I think we're making that very clear.
I mean, I was like, yeah, she's pretty creepy. I don't think
no.
it was a deal breaker.
But I will say, I did wonder if like the casting call was like, we need a beautiful woman who is also kind of weird looking.
well, I mean, if they do female Joker, man,
Oh.
that
Yeah, she
smile,
looked like the Joker.
that
There
smile.
lot of
were
this, yeah.
a lot of Oh, it's Elizabeth Olsen. That's who that character. When you look at the character model,
Yeah.
When you look at the way he drew that, Edward Riso, I think is the guy's name. He modeled her after
But if they do the is it Flashpoint?
Flash. Yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
Martha
it's
Wayne.
Martha Wayne.
It's like,
the
man, she
Joker
could
and-
pull that off.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd
Because
be-
you see that. She's got that wide smile.
At this point, who knows what they're going to do with that?
I
whole
know.
thing.
Well, rumors are rumors. Who knows what you can believe? But the latest report, because I think some people have
I would say
actually
it's
seen
screen.
it.
It's starting to screen,
Yeah,
right?
I think some people have seen it, and the latest report is that James Gunn removed all references to Snyderverse.
Good.
So
Good.
Can't wait.
That is a very
Did you see?
positive
This is a total
report.
tangent. Did you see that he was on? I didn't know the Russo brothers had a podcast, which I think
Oh, I
is
didn't
kind
know.
of interesting. But Snyder
Makes
was on
sense. You know, you got the Winter Soldier and Civil War,
Yeah.
Avengers. cherry
Yeah.
podcast. It's a pretty.
It's a pretty big
trajectory
drop,
is
right?
pretty-
But you see that Snyder.
We
the
skipped being hit filmmakers and went
Just
straight to
podcasting.
podcast.
We just wait. We were like, we could invest all this time and money, and we're like, that's not going to pan out.
No,
Podcast,
no, we'll just go right to
fine.
podcast. But he wanted that Snyder wanted to put in the movie that after Superman died, that Batman and Lois have a relationship. Lois gets pregnant.
Oh,
They bring and Bruce realizes he has to bring Clark back. They bring him back. Bruce dies, and then Clark has to raise the son of Batman and Lois, who then becomes the new Batman. That's out of Snyder's mouth. That's not any like that
just
was
having fun with it.
holy.
That's what I think he's lying, man. I think he's just like, well, it's over now. I'll make stuff
He's
up.
like, what can I say that will just piss people off?
Or make my fans go, we need it. We
right.
need it.
I just like,
both.
dude, like if
It's
he's
not either or.
if he's done with it like he says he is, I wish that one, he would just be done with it.
Yeah.
I would never mention that thing again. And two, tell your fans like, I'm done. I've got Rebel Moon over here. Like, let's make this new
Wouldn't
thing.
you want to promote this new thing
Rebel
that's gonna
Moon? Like, who cares about
Well,
that? You know.
I think keeping him on the hook, right, is the way to
Well,
do
I
it.
think that's what he wants to carry that base.
I would love to see statistics of how many people are, crying while they retweet hashtag Save the Snyderverse are gonna go see Rebel Moon. I don't think there's any way to
I think
determine that, but
it's Netflix,
It's
right?
Netflix, yeah.
So all of them.
I don't know, man.
$20 is pretty steep, man.
I
Those
feel like when they're
subscriptions are
alone in their house and they're scrolling through Netflix and they see Rebel Moon, they'll go,
Maybe
"Well,
later."
Maybe not really.
That's really funny. Nah, I don't think so. Check
So
that out
let's
later.
talk about the story
Yeah,
of
so
this.
what I do like, I think this opening is obviously an homage to the first two.
Yeah. It's a way to get the
A little
cabin.
bit, maybe a smidge, yeah.
It's a way to get.
There was a
It's a way to get the cabin in the movie, so you kind of got that where you start off with the cabin.
It's a
you're
much
like, "Ooh."
nicer cabin, though. This is a nice cabin.
I did have a moment of like, oh gosh, being like a Snyder guy, being like, that's not the
This is the
cabin.
cabin.
That's not the cabin.
that's a 3-story A-frame.
But which is great though, because when you watch the movie and realize it's a different book, different locations, like
Yeah.
okay,
That's
it's
I'm
not
fine with
a different cabin.
Yeah.
I did also think too at the end of the movie, like, does the demon, which I don't know either if it's like one thing or a bunch of things or
Right.
whatever, but do you think after it ends up with the girl in the lake, it's like, oh no, I'm stuck out here again. I was in a city.
Yeah, like
I had it all.
that's hilarious.
I had victims everywhere. Now it's just me in the woods.
But that's the sequel, though, right? Like they open it and close it with the monster being at a cabin, and now you have the sequel. It's all set up. Whoever
sure,
goes
sure.
to the sequel next,
well, what is interesting is which is something I never thought of.
Ash's son and his friends
Oh my
partying from
God.
college.
He's calling up both his cousins. Be like, you guys are stuck in a cabin? No, dude, I'm in a freaking high rise.
It is something I never thought of is in those movies they immediately take the demon out, right?
Yeah.
Like the book, and they end up getting what's the end of the first one? Because the second one is he gets sucked into the portal.
Well,
It-
Ash
it-
just lives.
He lives and then it
It's-
zooms
it's-
in
Oh,
on
it
his
zooms
face.
in on his face. That's right. That's right. So like the evil is always taken care of. This is the first time I was like, oh, it's still out there.
Yeah.
Like she can just walk to
I
wherever
kind
she
of want
has
to know
to.
why it lived. I mean, I don't need explanations for everything, but I mean, I guess we'll get that's the end of the movie. But like, I don't know how when she seemed to handle it. Like,
So I think, isn't that weird how when you watch a movie and you hear every word and then you're like, wait, what?
that's why we
what
usually.
makes eyewitnesses' testimony so
That is true.
suspect.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes. You're right. I don't know. It was my fault. You're right. But I think on the record, he says like, I realized that the only way to stop it was to cut it all apart like
Yeah.
they do in the other movies. But then I think he says,
Even that didn't work.
and that didn't work.
yeah,
That's
he
true.
does have a quick little line at the end.
Which
So you
I
have
guess
to.
that's the deal. That's kind of a bummer. There's something about a ring or a Final Destination. I don't like when the end is like, psych, nothing works.
Right, because they
Kind of a bummer.
I feel like she triumphs in the end. Like, spoiler, I feel like Beth triumphs. I feel like she did the thing, and you have to dismember him. Well, she certainly
All
dismembered
these
him.
movies have that issue, though, right? It's like the good guys win, but they can't completely win, or we
Right.
can't
Name
make them
one other horror movie.
all of them.
But
But
when
no, in
Evil Dead,
Evil Dead 2, though, they're saying that when they open that portal, It's them sending the evil back. So it's out of 1980,
Yeah.
but it goes back to, you know.
And I guess Beth is safe.
Yeah.
That kid's ruined.
Is it like is it like
I thought the same thing. I go, that 4-year-old,
Oh my gosh.
never going to be okay.
is it like Double Jeopardy? Can you only get possessed or like attacked by the evil once and then like you win, so we're not gonna
You know what? We're good. No,
that
because
seems to not be
Ash
Ash
gets, well, I guess it's
experience.
evil. It's the evil
it's
Ash.
a clone, right?
No, well,
Well, he
it's,
turns evil and they
he
separate
eats, he eats
him.
the little ones,
Yeah.
and then a second one grows off of him.
Yeah.
That's
I don't think the continuity of Evil Dead is all that strict.
No, that's true. That's
All
true.
right, so Beth is a guitar technician,
Roadie.
professional.
She ends up finding out she's pregnant. So I guess at the end of this tour,
What if she was pregnant with a deadite baby, and in the end she thought she wins, but then it bursts out and it's a deadite?
so that would have been a crazy ending, and I
Right?
would have been like, I mean,
We won.
That, that tracks with this series, though.
Yeah.
Like I could see that happening. So she goes home
Little evil Ash pops out.
Oh boy.
wearing the blue shirt and the pant and the whole thing,
And then the final scene, or the after credit scene, is him getting a call.
or
when
him.
it's,
No, it should be Ash squishing it.
You're my son? What?
Oh God. So she goes home to not nondescript city.
It's L.A.
They say it's L.A.
I'm almost positive they said it was L.A.
Okay. It's possible. The gal behind me wouldn't shut up, so it's possible. Every
LA!
But she was going, L.A.
I will
It's
say
LA.
the opening sequence of this movie is really good.
Yeah.
Like I think the friend seeing the cousin or the other friend sitting on
cousin.
the bed, I think is fantastic. The scalping
creepy.
of the
reading
cousin.
lines from Wuthering Heights or what, right?
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
so.
Bella.
Which is just kind of a creepy, like haunted.
Is that I've never read that. Is that what that is?
Haunted.
Shocking.
I know, right?
But so she's like, so in Evil Dead, the Deadites have some kind of
Psychic ability.
yeah, because they can read stuff. Like, was it cards? He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
reading cards, and,
Yeah.
and she's just listing them off. Is it Linda or is it the sister? I can't remember. Whichever one's
So
doing it.
Cheryl gets it first,
Cheryl?
and then Linda after that.
Okay. So anyway, but we've known in the past ones they have these psychic abilities. So then we get all those callbacks to like, oh, this is how Deadites work. And so she's
I do also
reading
appreciate
pages
that
off the
they
book.
they stick to their rules, which I think in a lot of these movies, when they're like, we're just doing our own thing, they don't stick to the rules
Right.
to an extent.
These
where
are
this
pretty
one
established Evil Dead Deadite rules.
Yeah.
And she does the throw up thing like they do. The white, it's always like
Foamy,
the milky
gross.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but yeah, she rips the scalp off the cousin. Which was pretty gnarly.
Right.
And then she comes running out, and then the brother, boyfriend, or whatever's on the dock playing
that
with the drone.
stupid drone.
Does the head fake drone was
It was good.
evil.
Yeah, it was
right?
good. That was good.
But then she like just takes the drone and shoves it
shoves
in
it
her
in her
face,
face.
and blood's everywhere. He dives in because I mean, at first it's like, why would you do that? But it's like, oh, you don't know what's going on. Like you think you're saving your friend who's having some episode, but nope, that's a deadite.
It's
And
like
then,
the head comes flying out of the
oh
water.
yeah, it was great. The water's all bloody and everything, and then the deadite rises, which we've never seen them. Have we seen them float like that before?
Sorta,
Yeah.
but nothing like that.
But it looked very more supernatural than
Yeah.
Evil Dead usually
Yes.
gets. But it was a cool effect, and you get Evil Dead
It's
Rise.
Evil Dead Rise.
That's
Right?
exactly
Well,
it.
right. It
Like a
was-
high rise.
You got to do that.
Yeah. So Beth goes home. She not hooks up, but she goes home to her sister and her kids. And
don't
not
hook
one
up.
of-
yeah, right.
That's not
But
one
I
of
will
those
say
billboards.
the 4-year-old in this, I could not stand. Guess what? Their names are Dan and Bridget because they say it every mother effing line.
I had no problem with the kids in this movie. I
Why?
mean,
Why did they keep saying their names?
I don't know.
Drove
it
me
was
crazy.
fine.
Joe, you gotta calm down, Joe.
I know. So,
Ever
but
since that last concussion, I want to be specific. The very last
Yeah,
one.
the last
Joe's
one.
been a little bit like
Kevin, I agree.
fiery.
And I think Tom would also agree that Kevin, you're right, and Joe, people say people's names, man.
I guess that's true. You do, not every time you talk to them.
Joe, I think sometimes people do.
Look, Matt, it's not the way people talk.
Can I
But-
tell you my story of my theater?
Yes,
real quick?
yeah.
So I went to a Marcus Theater, which is a chain, but a small one in the Midwest. And I go there all the time for movies. Don't usually have any problems.
Same theater, right?
Same theater, different auditorium.
Okay.
So I went to this auditorium that I don't think I've ever been in before, and I guess it's a little bit bigger than the other ones I usually go to. You either have a huge one where you have so much space you don't really know what's going on the other side of the theater, and then there's little ones which I usually go to, and then this is like a medium one, but it's still decent, a couple hundred seats or whatever. So we get in there, sit down, it's the previews, we're missing, right at the end of those, and there's overhead lights on, which usually happens. Okay, movie starts, this dark horror movie. One row of overhead lights, and these are like LED lights, right above where we are, right in my line of sight, just right there. So we go out and complain, nothing happens. We see a person walk through the theater, go back out and complain, bring someone to the theater, show them, they leave, nothing happens. This is like 30 minutes into the movie now. I'm like, the lights are on. It's very distracting, like seriously. So then we've watched the whole movie with the lights on.
Oh, the whole
I feel like
time?
it's LED lights, right? It's not dim to like 10%. I mean, they're just bright. And so we watched the whole movie, which was distracting. I recognized like I enjoyed the movie, but I probably didn't enjoy it as much. Like it was a bummer. I go out and the manager's like, yeah, that's for safety. We have to keep a whole row of lights on. I'm like, there's stair lights. There's dimmed wall lights. An overhead strip lights. He goes, whatever one you enter the theater. So sometimes it's on the right, sometimes it's on the left. I was on the right back, and so I'm like closest to the ceiling, and I just have a whole row in my eyesight.
I've never heard of that.
So you have like the screen getting drained, not totally, but like washed out by the lights.
Yeah.
I feel like a spotlight's on me, like it's on me in my popcorn, where if you looked over, it'd be like I was in the light. It was just a bummer. And so like
sucks,
they
man.
gave me 2 free tickets, fine, that's great. But like my experience, I watched this horror movie that was not scary in the slightest to be like just watching it at home with the lights on.
Sure.
So I don't know. I thought it was weird. If I sat on the other side, maybe it would have been okay. But it makes me, if that's their policy, it makes me never want to go back.
That's why I don't.
I don't want to watch a movie with the lights on, especially not Evil Dead. So
Right.
I don't know. I've never experienced that. And when they told me that's a policy, I just thought, what movie theater has the lights on?
I would be like, show it to me.
Yeah.
Let me see the
Give me the handbook.
Yeah,
I
give me
haven't
that.
noticed it in other theaters, in other Marcus
and they
theaters.
say and they said, oh, it depends on the size, and I'm so maybe, but
maybe.
like I don't know, man. But it's just weird because you go to a theater to see a movie on a big screen in the dark,
That's-
and for them to say it's policy, and I usually really like Marcus, and they were really nice, and again the guy was nice, gave me comps. That's not how I want to watch a movie. So
I like when they. I know I'm a shill for the Draft House at this point, but as soon as they were like, $20 a month.
I know. I wish it were closer because
That's totally
I would
legit.
love
I
to.
totally understand that.
Yeah.
I will, if I don't have to go to a Marcus or an AMC,
Yeah.
I won't. Just because I understand the Alamo is a corporation as well, right? But there does seem to be a little bit more focus on the
Well,
experience.
AMC
and
feels like a corporation. Alamo feels like a small business
Now,
that
I tell ya,
expanded.
That's true, yeah.
I just feel.
This was my first Alamo experience.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
I don't like them slinking around through there, man.
That is a big. I do agree
bringing
with you.
food and drinks
Scrabbling
out.
like little.
Yeah.
They're all hunkered down. Scary.
That's what sucked. That's what sucked with AMC. Well, that might be fun during Evil Dead to pop up. Would you like a drink?
No, I did.
What if they dress like Deadites and they
That'd be
popped
cool.
up?
You like write what you want and push the button or whatever, which is fine. But and it's fine. But then the lady took our piece of paper and she is hunkered down in her crotch going, and is this right? You want a Coke Zero and a hot dog?
Oh, you
And
paid for the premium.
And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
it's-
kind of like
No, it's all like that.
trying to be like chill,
your
like
crotch.
not weird about it, but I'm also like, I'm feeling very rude. I know what is happening here, but I'm still kind of like turning in my seat, like, oh, I'm. And there were people being movie theater people jerks, and they didn't kick them out, and I wanted them to. I was
Oh.
like, it's gonna happen. This is what I've heard about Alamo.
I thought they had to.
This
You
is
have
the
to
real
do-
show.
You kind of have to I will say what they do is they say if there's people around you being a problem, write it on the thing.
Oh, you still have to write it
You
on
do
the
well
thing.
because then it's anonymous, right? You're not.
Right, it's these people right here. You want?
I just feel like I'm robbing this Alamo.
Yeah, right. Gonna give me all your money.
Give me all your popcorn.
But yeah, it's the same thing. I do feel like there's a bigger focus on seeing the movie,
Yeah.
rather than like, hey man, this is what we do for
Yeah,
money.
Sure.
you
for
know?
sure. But I don't. Yeah, so I don't know. Theaters are. You want to support theaters, and I'm glad they're back and making money. But every time you have the people behind you,
Yeah.
the phone people, they won't turn lights off. You're just like, man. And these tickets are $15 a piece. I mean, I don't think that's cheap.
No, it's not.
$15
For an hour and a half?
$30.
I'm like rich, so it is for
Oh, okay.
me. But like
for me,
still,
but for me, it's like I'm spending $30 for two of us to go to the movie, and it's like with the lights on. That's not a
No.
So at least
No.
they comped them, because if they didn't, I would have been like, well, I'm just not coming back here. This
Call it a
sucks.
day. Call it a day.
But
so
anyway,
yeah,
so-
so Beth goes home
To some nondescript LA.
to nondescript LA, and one of the things in the Evil Dead movies is that there's always some sort of inner turmoil to some extent between people in the group, right? And I think this one does a really good job of establishing that Beth is kind of she's not a good sister. Like she's kind of self-absorbed, where she's worried about her job, and when she's like, we find out that Ellie's husband has left, and she's kind of the house is being, or the apartment building is being shut down, and they're being forced to kick out.
I never got that she was a bad sister. I got that she was she doesn't have
self-absorbed,
kids. She's out
I
on the
guess.
road. I mean, I think she just isn't like super family. Like, hey, I'm coming over for dinner this week or whatever. Like, I don't know. To me, it seemed like they were distant, but I didn't get
the way-
bad.
I think Joe's right that that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
But I also felt like she's working. Like she
I
has
just
a
felt like she had her own life on
touring
the road. Yeah.
job. She can't just drop it and come home. I think they could have done it better. This is very much like in Halloween Ends, the cop that Joe thinks is a great guy and was intended to be a great guy, whereas we
Didn't
realize
think he was a creep.
that he's supposed to be a creep and the movie's bad, and they didn't do a good job showing that.
So this may have been
Wait, was
somewhere
that ends? You're right, because
Yeah,
they
it
have that.
certainly
They have that.
Yeah,
in the, yeah,
it was
They
in.
have that.
I'm pretty sure.
You
that
guys
confrontation
have reviewed it
in
12
the.
times. I've edited it 12 times.
That's the confrontation in the diner, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But then remember when he follows him and beats the crap out of him?
There's the problem.
That's
Initially, he doesn't do any. He doesn't beat him up. He doesn't get his buddies to kick the crap out of him in the diner.
You
he just
left for
follows
2
him.
minutes and he's talking about Halloween.
You
Guys,
brought it up. I didn't bring it up. You guys brought it up.
Basically brought it
Either
up.
that or wrestling.
I didn't bring that up either.
Does he know about the mythology and lore behind Halloween, or is it like Evil Dead?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the mythology behind. Depends
Well,
on
wait,
depends on which timeline you want to talk about.
I
Tom.
would have thought that about Evil Dead.
Well, I
Yet
didn't
here
even
we are.
think about. I always think I didn't even think about the 3 books.
He's like, there's a book in it?
Yeah, right.
We did a
That's weird.
Patreon. I was invited onto the podcast.
It's not just a book. They have it pressed to vinyl now.
Yeah. And we talked about Black Christmas, which was the inspiration for Halloween.
Yeah.
So-
Yep, that's right. Oh, you mean like? Did you mean the mythology of Michael Myers or of the movie
Just
Halloween?
the franchise.
Yes.
For the holidays.
The lore.
The lore, yes. Yeah, Samhain. That's how it all started.
So
Not
there's
Sam Hain.
So there's 3 excellent child actors that live with her, the
I will
single
say
mother.
that
and
4-year-old is adorable.
Yeah.
Right? And she's got this little speech impediment that I think is,
I thought she was a really.
Australian.
I thought.
Oh, are you serious?
Truly, I think. Yeah, they filmed.
Yeah,
Well, the
she's-
director's
speech,
absolutely
which is
awesome.
weird
No,
that
no,
you would.
she's-
No, I'm kidding.
It's weird that you would cast a small child and then be like, but lose the accent.
Yeah, right,
Like, that's
right.
a lot to ask of a kid.
I agree, especially a kid that young.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought she was a really good little
Because
actor.
the director is Australian as
It
well.
was filmed overseas. I believe.
Okay.
I think in Australia. Yeah.
Okay,
And,
okay.
and I think most of the actresses are Australian.
Okay.
It was filmed
Yeah,
in a
Lily
little.
Sullivan is Australian. So is Alyssa Sutherland.
No
There's-
relation. To
Well, I
Donald.
said Sullivan, I think.
Oh,
to,
okay.
to Donald or
And then, yeah,
Kiefer.
Morgan Davies is Australian. So, yeah, like,
you
I
go.
think
Okay.
And the rest of the cast isn't important enough to be clickable on Wikipedia, which I think means, of course, Australian.
Australian. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think she's really good,
Yeah.
and she's got some line delivery. It's fortunately a lot of it's in the trailer, where I think the line that she gives to Beth, where she's like, "You're gonna make a really good mom someday because you know how to lie to kids," and I was like, "Oh boy, that child is gonna be a deadite."
Man,
Like, that is what we're getting at.
When Ellie is like about to kill her, and then she's like, and then like goes down to her stomach, and then starts digging her
Yeah.
nails with it. I mean, there's some really creepy.
I did think she was gonna pull that baby. I'm not making that up. Like these movies, at least
I didn't think they were gonna. You
I
really
got-
thought they were going
in the
for it?
in the 2013 version. They do things in that movie that I've never thought they were going to do. So there were moments in this where I was like, man, they might kill
I mean,
that.
2
They-
kids, pretty young kids, got turned
Yeah.
into deadites.
That's true.
so-
That's true. Also, Dan kind of deserved it.
Oh, leave him
He
alone.
shouldn't have turned the record on.
He's
didn't know.
He's a vinyl head. You know, he's
Okay.
out crate digging in the basement.
If you find weird vinyls,
digging in the
tell me you're
basement.
not going to play them
Yeah.
to see what. I mean,
He tried to stop it.
That's true.
It's
That's
these.
true.
It's
at,
these.
at the third record, you're right. He tried to stop it.
Well,
I will also
when
say,
things start
when
going
these
weird.
guys have to spin it manually,
Yeah.
they're really good.
Yeah.
like
That's
it
true.
never speeds up or slows
No, he's
down.
he's on
It
point the whole
just-
time.
Yeah,
I
like,
do.
that's-
It's these priests' fault for
It's true for recording it.
recording it, and then I guess calling
Rich,
up a manufacturer and being like, "Yeah, man, we just want to get
you know
like
how
400 or
hard-
500 vinyl."
Do you know how hard it was to record audio back then?
That's true.
It was
well,
not
that
easy.
okay? What it's 19.
23, I think they
23.
said. Yeah.
When are we doing like when could they have gone and had
when-
vinyl.
Well, they
press.
used to record them on a stereogram or whatever.
Oh, is that-
It's a
it's like a
time. They didn't get
wax
a press.
cylinder situation.
They recorded
Yeah, because
it.
the bottom of the record does look weird. It's like
That's true.
You thought it said like RCA Records in the corner.
I
Had
thought
a
they
label
went
on
down and
it.
got it made.
No, that was the only recording technology there was.
But it's still really difficult.
Well,
Like you had to go out of like
Yeah.
like
Yes.
I don't think anyone would have bothered.
Oh, this was
It
the guy
too
that
hard.
this was the guy that invented record labels. So, that was,
ta-da.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they all get there, and there's a little bit of tension. There's an earthquake when the kids are coming back to get pizza.
And that's the demons, right?
has to be.
Like they're involved in that earthquake
Yes.
to some degree. Okay.
Yes. So Dan, who finds like a hole in the ground.
Danny.
You remembered his name.
There's
So, seems like it worked.
There's a you're welcome. There's a reason I remembered his name. He goes down into they find it's said earlier in the movie that this high rise was built on top of it was an old bank. So
he
they
says it's an old bank vault.
yeah. So he goes down there and he finds.
I'd go down to an old bank vault. Who knows? Treasure,
I would
jewels?
absolutely go down in the old
Right.
bank vault.
Okay, Geraldo.
I mean,
Hey man, at least he would have found
except there's
something.
something in there, you know.
Except for a light that's been on
I mean,
for the
if it's
last
like-
70 years or whatever.
If they're like, oh, it's some old creepy hole in the ground, okay, I'm not just gonna go in there. If I'm like, I know this is an old bank
But if you
vault,
can, I will say you're right.
I'm
If I
heading
can,
down.
if I can look down in there and be like, okay, it looks like there's
Like,
something down
yeah.
there. I'll go down there and look. But when I find this creepy ass book
when
and
I
a
find
bunch
book
of
bound in
records,
human flesh, I am not bringing that.
I can stay down there. Let's just pile it more stuff. I'm not. No, thank you.
Can you tell it's human flesh just
No.
by looking at it? I
Unless
feel
you
like-
know that
well-
it is. No, I mean, well,
And this is another instance of when people are working with human flesh. All the craftsmanship just goes out the window, stitches across the front.
right.
Why can't they make it look nice?
Just flatten
This
it
one
out.
looks nicer than the.
That's
this
true.
one doesn't have a face on it. That's true.
and it's got a nice locking
because they're
mechanism.
piecing the flesh together. What they need to do, if you're going to make a book of the dead with human flesh,
Correct.
you need to find some fat people.
Right?
If Buffalo Bill has taught us anything,
Right. That way you can have one
flat piece.
cohesive
That's right.
piece.
That's right. The other thing is when they're trying to open the book, and then Danny cuts himself on the thing, and the blood.
teeth, like bone teeth.
Yeah. And then when he sees his blood hit the book, and then the thing opens up, don't open it. That's a red flag, man.
Yeah, but the thing, I mean, the thing's gonna start opening itself. I mean, from the moment he opened it and blood hits it, I think he's done for.
Oh,
You know,
I-
book purists
Yes.
always talk about the tactile experience of holding a book. This never happens with a Kindle.
Now that's the sequel
there
right
it
there.
is. Yeah,
Haunted
right.
Kindle
Book of the Dead
right
on
there.
this on the Kindle. That's right. The Necronomicon on the Kindle.
E-Reaper, the movie.
Trademark it.
I
Don't
like
let
it.
that get out of here.
Honestly, I like
Take that out of the
E-Reaper.
episode. We don't need new line will jump all over it. So he starts playing the record, of course, and it doesn't sound like any gobbledygook. And then he starts playing it backwards, and now we hear the priest, and we hear somebody we think could be Ash being like, hey, no, don't do that, and then he just keeps going anyway. So
And according to Wikipedia, they say that the director considers it to be a time displaced
Ash?
Yes.
does he doesn't go back in time in the show, right? Does he?
They do.
Is it? But it's like in
Season later. Season later.
Season
I
later.
believe they do some time travel.
okay, but it's not like back to medieval times. It's like back to the show, right? Like
Yeah. Or do they? Well, they go.
let's go rewatch it.
Well, let's not spoil that.
That's
This is a spoiler for
Yeah.
Evil Dead Rise.
That's fair.
so-
That's fair. So now all hell is broken loose, right? So Ellie's going to do laundry, and the demon gets Ellie in the elevator, and this is where
Get
we're
the tree
off.
homage. Really creepy with the cables.
Matt and I have both said in those other episodes where it's like that's a weird thing to take, like the tree sexual assault is a weird thing to go back to in all of these movies. I was like, of all the things
But
you
they don't
maybe
sexually
love it.
assault her.
They don't do that in
It's
this
just-
one. That
I
is
mean,
true.
I think that's a good way to handle
Right.
the homage, is to have the creepiness of, you're getting restrained and they break her bones, where in the
Right.
other one it was restraining to. Yeah.
You thought being a tree hugger was bad.
Yeah. So,
Both are equally
but
bad.
it was really creepy.
No, I didn't.
I don't
Tom. I never said that.
I don't think they're equally bad.
They're not. They're not.
The way this film is shot, though, it is shot
good.
really well. I think, again, this is supposed to be streaming or whatever. It's like there's nothing about the look of this movie that feels like they cheaped out or got anything
No,
lesser.
they doubled down on the
quality.
gore, and I mean, like
The
I talked
practical effects.
talked about it in Renfield. Is that was one of my biggest problems with that movie, and this one's like, you know what, we got it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it. So Ellie comes in the room. We get the really creepy egg sequence where she starts cracking eggs. And I think there's like the egg embryos.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, oh, that's
It's
so
like
gross.
blood in there or something.
Yeah, right. And this is the scene that I was talking about where Ellie tries to fight it off and she realizes she can't. And she has this really great emotional beat where she's like, please save the kids.
Don't let them take my baby.
At least one, please.
Just don't let them take my babies.
Don't let them take my babies is a great
really
line.
good.
And she kills that line. No pun intended.
Oh, is that all she kills?
That's right. And
Her body, her movement, whether it's making the eggs when she first walks in the hallway and she's out of focus and she's
Yeah.
like slinking. Again, this actor's
she
performance
does an amazing
is-
job.
yeah.
It's on another level. And that's what I'm saying is like, usually with the Deadites, we see them in the cellar or we see them,
Yeah.
we don't see them.
I'll swallow your soul.
Yeah. Which I was like, thank God they didn't do that. That seems to be like the only line I would have been like, okay.
Didn't
But
she say that?
I don't think so.
I
Does
thought
she?
She did. I thought she had the sister in almost like a headlock or something, and I thought she said there. Somebody
She
did.
might have said that one. They say "Dead by Dawn," obviously.
Lots
Maybe
of times.
Courtney said it to me.
She didn't
my
say soul.
lover.
That's talent.
Well, that's
Well,
what she should.
If you do it right.
That's true.
If
Yeah.
you're good
I guess
enough.
if you're good enough. Oh, that was good. So this and now they're stuck, right? You've got. I do think it's funny that they introduce all these different characters who live on the same floor. I was like, dead.
Oh,
dead,
yeah.
dead.
Oh,
yeah, you need
That is-
fodder.
that's right. That's why you are here.
Truly, and I mean, maybe I'm a weirdo, but when you're seeing like 4 people, you kind of do go, oh, well, I guess.
Not going to get
I
attached
guess
to
knowing
you.
Yeah.
Not well. No, I'm talking when it's just the family, and I'm going like, I guess not that many people are gonna die, and then other people start popping out the doors. So you're like, oh, here we go.
So Ellie, at this point, they're trying to, they think she has died. They try to, that's another great scene where the fly, it's in the trailer, unfortunately.
That
again,
was good.
Where the fly lands on her eye.
Anytime there's a fly on the eye.
On the
it's such
actual eyeball,
the
right? Like,
eyeball,
well-
that's, yeah.
And I guess she just starts tearing through.
I just thought she was
Everyone.
a host from Westworld, right? Isn't that the test?
That's exactly, that's how you know. That's
It's
how
on
you
your
know.
eye.
Yeah,
then-
you can't feel it. Can't feel it. So the first one to go is Bridget, the first, the older daughter. In a pretty, I mean, usually in these movies, once the demon attacks you or inflicts some sort of injury on you, that's it.
Gets in through
I
a
figured
hole.
I figured the blood. They seem to all have some kind of when you get it. So the
'Cause she
mom
put it in the-
tattoos her. She takes blood out of her head.
Yeah,
and then
man, that's a
tattoos her with
crazy
it,
scene.
right?
Yes,
She has
yeah.
a needle in her head. So I think it's any time. To me, it's blood or like if blood in your blood or
Yeah. It's a
gook
zombie
in
bite.
Your,
Right.
Yeah, basically. So Ellie or not Ellie, but Bridget turns first, and then
And then she's eating glass.
that was
swallowing it as
that was
it
a
goes out of
crazy
her
scene.
neck?
Yeah, that was a
They're
crazy
doing
scene.
stuff in this
They got
movie
the
that
cheese grater, obviously.
I-
So
like-
then, so
I was like,
they made a bigger deal out of that than I thought. Like everybody's like, "You're never gonna look at a cheese grater to the same." I was like, "No, I'm gonna look
well,
at
I've
it the
been
same."
waiting
'cause-
for that in a movie since I knew what cheese graters were.
that was
It
gnarly.
is a
those
great scene
shreds
where
of
she
skin out of
takes
the-
like is it? I think it's Dan does it to.
Oh, does he?
To,
Okay, I
to
could've-
Beth and like drags it across her leg. I was like, "Ay."
Ugh, there was stuff in this movie that made me
Yeah.
look away for a second.
Sure,
It was that.
That's
yeah.
it's pretty. In the remake, there's things in that one where I was like, there's a whole scene where a gal's like sawing at her face, and I was like, oh no, this is terrible.
But the
cheese grater, the
cheese
glass,
grater, the glass in the neck. I mean, that was pretty gnarly.
yeah,
She needs to chew her food better.
that is true.
Right,
Yeah, if you know,
right.
you chew that glass up,
Yeah.
you won't have that problem in
And
your
then,
throat.
she's like, I don't like creepy crawlies in my tummy. She's
Yeah.
trying to kill him with the glass she's eating. Ugh.
It was gross.
So you watch horror movies, action movies, or whatever. You know when they'll like have the good guy, they kill all these people, then they have the good guy and they like toss him across the room.
Yeah.
And you're like, why didn't you bite his head off? There's
trope,
something.
yeah.
There's something about the Deadites that you're like, well, they like they're having a good
yes.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That like makes it all okay
They're
to me.
playing with their food, essentially.
Like
They're-
because you think Bridget, when she's a Deadite, up on the counter like that, I like to think of the Deadite going like, okay, so I'm going to get up on the counter, I'm gonna be looking like a weird, like looking off to the left, like real weird like.
Right.
Now she doesn't know I have bugs in my stomach. So the glass won't mix it. Well, I'll tell her. I'll just say it. I'll be eating the glass. I'll tell her. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
All the Deadites are goofy little goons. You
They
know? They're
are
just
always-
like, they're silly. You,
Little scamps.
yeah.
Yeah. So there are two ways.
Goofy little goons.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
just so silly.
This is
That's true.
if I were to ever write the Joker,
Yeah.
Like he would be a mix.
Dear Joker.
Dear Joker.
I've been a fan of your work for so long. Oh my God, I broke Matt.
I've written, but you ain't calling. There's some sort of mix between
I
Freddy
saw
Krueger.
your movie. It's my favorite movie. You're such a good guy.
There's a mix between Freddy Krueger and a Deadite. Like that would be to me is like the recipe of a good Joker, rather than maybe what we've gotten.
Sure.
Freddy
Recently.
versus Jason versus Ash versus Joker.
Could you? So do you know how close that was to happen? Not the Joker
Yeah,
part. Like
yeah.
that Freddy versus Jason. He was supposed to be at the
Versus
end of that
Ash.
movie.
Yeah.
That was, and then they couldn't get
Missed
it to happen.
opportunity.
And then there's 2 comic books that are out there that exist. So yeah, so Bridget gets it first. They think they've taken her out, but Bridget ends up throwing up a massive amount of blood all over Dan. So now Dan's been caught.
And it's a pretty, like, the amount of blood
It
in
is
this movie
viscous.
is pretty, like,
There's a lot.
yeah, you
There
can,
is a lot.
Yeah.
it's tactile.
It
It's-
is.
more-
It is tact. That's a great way to
There's
put it.
more blood than the number of people in this movie could produce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
but that's Evil Dead. They throw up more than could be in your stomach. It's always this amount that
There's a-
I
somehow,
get it. It's the genre in which we're
yeah.
working.
Yes.
The
Yes.
rules for this movie follow. It is always.
I mean, when we get to the elevator, it's like, well,
I thought that was
okay.
a great scene. Like it was
it's a good scene, and it is definitely the homage to The Shining, but
We should okay. So, but I think when Ellie does the cable guy thing in the hallway, I thought that was pretty funny.
I think that's
my-
actually a really good. I like. It's a way to get Ellie out of the out of the house,
because they're
but
in
at
this
the same
small
time,
spot. How for an hour and a half does Ellie not get them? But it's
Right.
lock her out, and then you've got the foreshadowing. Oh, the cat goes in the vents. Like they
Right.
set all that up. But I like it because then you get Ellie on the outside doing the creepy
doing some
thing,
creepy
and
stuff.
she's killing people. And then Beth is looking through the eye.
Hey, was the guy with the shotgun? Was that the guy from Session 9? Was that the
don't know who
lead
that guy
actor?
was.
Like, did you see that?
I did.
I'll tell you. In
But
a
like the
second.
guy who goes
Right.
insane.
Now that's spoilers.
I guess that's fair.
What's Session 9? I don't think I've seen it.
Session 9
Where
is
they're like they find the old
Or
they're
asbestos.
insane asylum.
They're clearing out an
Leaders.
insane asylum of asbestos. It's
That's Mark Mitchinson, and he is known for The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug.
Yeah.
Underworld, Rise of the Lycans, Hobbit, Battle of Five Armies. He must be one of the dwarves.
but he's Australian, so that could have
Oh,
been.
there you go.
It's not. It's Richard Crouchley plays Caleb.
Oh, is that who that is?
I think
Okay,
that's who it is.
Oh, you know him from Power Rangers Dino Fury.
of course I do. That's exactly what it is. But
was
Session
the
9
dino.
is it's David Caruso.
Caruso?
Yeah,
Whatever
Hey,
you don't
dude,
see the porn parody, Power Rangers Gyno Fury.
It's a very different movie.
It's a very
yeah,
different movie.
Yeah.
Medically accurate. So.
Surprisingly, so yeah.
They study it in medical school.
Anyway, these guys go to like an old insane asylum, and they are clearing out the asbestos. But the one of our guys is a little off.
Does anyone break out with a candy cane that they sharpen? Because that's a great way to escape from an insane asylum.
they
That is a great.
It's definitely a choice to give a person a sharp object, or let them
Well,
give them
it
something that
wasn't
they can
sharp,
turn
they got
that they can turn into a sharp object. So yeah,
So there's a hallway scene where you get the eye gag from Evil Dead 2, I think, where
Oh, yeah.
Ellie comes and bites the guy's eye out,
Bites
and
his
face
spits
off,
it
yeah.
across the room at his friend or brother,
And
and
right
the
in
other
the-
guy was,
yeah.
right in the mouth, and
Right.
he goes running.
And I
then-
think dies from it.
we never
seen
see
I
him
think
again.
no, she throws him into the wall, right?
That's the younger brother, I
I
think.
think it was his younger
His
brother.
arms ripped
there
off.
is that kid that disappears.
I
You're
think
right.
he choked on the eye.
Yeah.
No,
literally.
that's what happens if you don't chew it up your food.
That's right. And then, but we see the hallway scene where it's like you hear the shotgun. He kind of saves from Ellie killing one of the guys, saves, so to speak, and then all of a sudden you kind of just through
Right.
the peephole see this chaos. and shakes
Again,
them all out.
there's the shotgun, there's a sawed-off shotgun, there's a chainsaw, like it's all there.
I like the peephole scene where you were seeing everything through the
Yeah.
peephole.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean.
And I think
I think the director Lee Cronin did
Yeah,
a
there's-
really good job.
This is not my jam, but there are things
But-
Yeah.
to like in the movie. but
You
it's
got
just, yeah.
fresh stuff in this movie. You got I was seeing scenes and camera angles that I hadn't seen before, which I think sometimes is hard. I mean, especially you guys have seen way more horror movies, but I think at some point it's like you kill someone with a something at a certain place. Like,
like
you've
Mad
seen
Libs.
It is
seen
like
a
Mad
lot of
Libs.
it.
That's a
and,
great way to put it,
And
yeah.
so when you start seeing unique kills, like I tried to argue in this Black Christmas remake that they both hate, but I'm like, those are pretty cool kills. And
what the Imogen Pooch one?
the
or
one
the
that we
or
had
the
a-
Black Xmas?
Which one is it? I'm
because
far away from it now.
Xmas.
the one that we covered on this show is
No, oh no. We all are on the same page.
No.
as that. Xmas. The
I got
on
you.
the Patreon.
the Mary Elizabeth Winstead one.
With the yellow guy.
Yes, the guy from Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I just think it's bad. Did I say I hated it? I enjoyed
No,
it.
you said all the kills were the same, basically.
I probably did.
anyway, but this movie was doing stuff where I'm like, this Lee Cronin guy, I haven't seen any of his other work. He did another horror thing. Have you guys
I've
seen
never
his other?
no. I will
Okay.
probably go back and find this other.
Apparently, it's not as bonkers.
Okay.
He-
The Hole in the Ground is 2019, his last
Okay.
movie. So I don't know, it's a horror movie.
We'll give it a look.
But yeah, I think this guy's good. I think that this is going to catapult
This is going to
him
help. This is going to help a lot.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not that I didn't like the content of the movie. I just had a hard time with the characters.
Yeah. So the brother, then we talked about, gets
Brother
blood all
turns.
over him. He turns.
And
and
now
stabbed a bunch too.
he does get stabbed a bunch. That's true. And now it's down to Beth and the little girl who, this is where I was like, okay, now I'm into it. Like, I want these two to survive. They end up going back down to.
Is she the youngest final girl in a movie?
She must be. I mean, they
Well,
don't.
if you're pro-life and it's the fetus she's carrying.
It's true.
Thank
That's-
you. Thank you.
That's Nell Fisher playing Cassie.
Yeah, and she's like I said, she's
Really
fantastic.
good child actor.
So we think that we've won, right? They get the elevator working. That fills up with blood, and they realize
Shining
they're
scene.
shining. That they,
You know, somewhere there's someone watching this movie going, this is a ripoff of Ready Player One.
But like, you're not wrong. Like, out of all, there's a lot of people, the millions
Hey.
that have seen the movie.
Do you think Bridget with the blanket is supposed to be a Halloween?
if that's the, I mean, you're not wrong.
Like Michael Myers
Yeah.
under the sheet.
In the first one, yeah, when he kills PJ Souls.
DJ
DJ
Qual.
PJ Souls.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
But I did think that when she came
Yeah,
walking
right.
around, I was like, come on.
I was like, once the
Oh.
elevator crashes down because of the weight capacity, I'm like, well, that's one way to get to the.
That hey, but you,
It
and,
worked.
and it's full of
And
liquid, so you're
padded,
safe,
right?
right?
I'm like, that's pretty good.
All, our three deadites, the three, which I didn't know what was happening at first. I was like,
I just thought they were being
weird.
goofy, whatever.
Goobers.
goofy goobers.
Super good.
But we end up like the three of them join into one giant
in the
deadite.
book in the beginning, you see that the
Yeah.
monster, because there's always like a
There's a
big
final-
bad
a
monster,
final piece.
and it shows all the arms and stuff coming out of. So they like
join into one.
absorb, and she's like, her guts are coming out, and then they
Right.
join together. Yeah,
Yeah, it was fine. I thought it was well
Sounds
done.
creepy.
It's
It's good.
creepy. They end up fighting in the basement of this thing and going back to
I gotta have another complaint here though, and this goes to lots of different horror movies. The huge monster on one side of a
Dude,
car, and then being quiet and going around the other side. It's like, if I'm a monster, I'm gonna be like, do, 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 do. I mean, you're like, I'm
jumping
over
on
the
top of that
top.
car.
I hate I could be quiet behind one object.
There's
thing.
also-
It's just
Earlier in the movie, the sister gets stabbed in the hand.
yes,
And then
but she doesn't turn, right?
no, but like the mom is on
stabbed
top
by
of
glass.
Bridget,
That's
I
like a
think,
turner.
right? She's
Okay.
on top of Bridget, and then the sister, when we finally cut back to her, she's taping up her hand.
Yeah.
Your niece, there's a monster on top of her, and you're not gonna just like.
Hey,
That's-
man. Hey, you put the oxygen mask
You're
on
right.
yourself
Take care of
first.
yourself first.
Yeah.
Look at Tom
I'm glad
coming
you mentioned
through in
that,
a
though.
pinch.
That was the thing I didn't like, that she stood back, and then didn't the son have to come hit? Or that was
With
a
the
different
chair,
point.
hits her with the chair.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would the aunt
Which
not-
was a homage to WrestleMania 19.
Oh yeah.
Or any of them.
Yeah.
No, it's
1 through
because
30.
he's wearing green, which
Yeah.
I believe was the colors of.
Continue.
You gotta finish it.
I don't know, man.
You gave it a shot.
Mr. Perfect. He's
Gorgeous
I gotta
George.
tell you, well done. That's a good reference.
But the-
Kurt
on the-
Hennig, Mr. Perfect.
But
Good job.
well, so I thought that was movie stuff.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, I'm thinking about it, and that's bad.
But is that initial? So when she goes after Bridget, is that are they still trying to figure out like what the hell's going on, or has she already come out of the bathtub at that point?
yeah, no, they know. Which I did like that in this movie, that it goes bonkers so fast that nobody's going like, "Don't hurt mommy." You know, they're pretty much all in. But like they did that, and I'm like I said, I did think about it at the time. And that's not good in a movie, but I'm like, that's movie stuff. The car thing was so egregious.
Yeah.
Just
The monster knows it saw them
it's
go
somewhere
over
that's
there.
okay.
Like
this is as bad as in that last Jurassic World Dominion, whatever, when there's a huge dinosaur and they go, okay, group of 20 people, let's sneak behind this vehicle. It won't see you. It's a dinosaur. It's right there. And all it has to do is look over.
But also,
It has the high ground.
we have to assume that this thing is strong, right?
just flip the
Just
car.
flip the car.
It's also
Anything. Yeah. It's,
completely silent garage.
that's what I'm saying.
And
You
they're
would hear
still,
them going
like,
tip, 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 tip.
banging into
Yeah,
the car. And,
I didn't.
okay.
Yeah, it didn't make sense in the world they presented us in the quiet garage that they could move and it be perfectly quiet, and the monster doesn't go like, "Oh, they're right there."
What is
Yeah.
it doing on the other
can
side of the
see-
car?
That's
Going
what I'm
like,
saying. Oh.
man, I don't know.
I can see their feet.
I have no object permanence.
They should have done a little bit better job of having them hide behind a larger object, more noise, something a wood chipper could have been moving, a
Sure.
AC unit, whatever. But like, it just the silence of it being scary, so it can be silent,
Right.
Rah, did not.
I think it can read minds too.
We've seen it happen.
That would have been interesting. I know you're there. Behind
Yeah.
The
Oh,
car.
well, I think also that's what the Deadites do, right? They mess with you the entire time. So they think
I'll give them that. If they laughed at them, if they snuck up on them and were like, "Boo,"
Yeah.
because they knew. Okay, that would have been okay.
like the Joker, like or when he when,
Well,
when
if
the,
I
in Batman '89 when
Or
like
to write
he's
the
like,
Joker.
"Boo."
Oh,
Yeah, right. Dear Joker.
Be sexual.
So our characters are gonna get away. They get the gate to go, the roll gate to go down, and of course, Beth gets through first, and Cassie is not fast enough because she's 4. Also, throw the kid through. If you're trying to save the kid,
Yeah.
throw her under the thing first.
Also, Ellie grabs a chainsaw. The Deadite gets a chainsaw,
Yes.
and is gonna kill Cassie. But then Beth is able to
intervenes.
save the day.
Yeah, which I like that, where she finds like another like weak point in the which they kind of hint that this door isn't the sturdiest. So
Did you see that the chainsaw is the car in this movie? Because the car is not in it.
It's supposed to be the
They
color.
painted the chainsaw the exact color instead
Yeah.
of it being like red, like it usually
is
it's
it old?
yellow.
Is it an Oldsmobile?
Yeah.
Oh, so she's driving an Oldsmobile. It's not the same, but it's the same.
But I don't. I thought it was a Plymouth or something. I don't like that they. Why did they made the car an old station wagon or something? Why didn't they make it the
Right.
car? The
That's
car's
it.
in every movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And it doesn't
And he's in
stand
every
out.
Raimi movie, but definitely was in the Evil Dead movies.
Yeah.
It's not like a Wilhelm scream
Yeah.
thing where you go like, gee, like you
Why
wouldn't
didn't-
notice.
it's why
if
didn't
you
they make
didn't.
it the car?
It's kind of a thing of the movie,
Right.
But they can put it. Raimi puts it in every movie, and even though those aren't Evil Dead movies, you don't.
Is it
go,
in the remake?
I
at the
think
end?
it
Is
is.
that what Ash is driving when he picks her up, or
What? That never happens.
What's in a deleted scene or something? Yeah, it's Ash.
The end of that movie is her just like it's
The
him
reboot?
saying
No,
he does not pick her
He
up.
goes groovy.
It's
at
him.
the
It's
end
like
of the
it's him.
credits.
It's him in profile after the
But
credits.
doesn't someone pick her up driving on the road? It's the car or something.
that could be?
I think
but it's
that's-
not Ash.
It's not Ash.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that happens either.
But how did she get away?
They just walk
Just
away.
call it a day?
They're just done
Oh.
at the end.
It's in there
She
somewhere.
leaves.
It's in there
Okay.
somewhere.
But I do think it is.
Yeah. So she kicks her way through. She comes back, and now she being Ellie, this thing has landed in the worst possible spot it could land, in front of a wood chipper. We get a little flashback to
They're gonna drag Beth
They're-
and the wood
yeah.
chipper. Cassie
turns it off.
turns it off, and then once she gets the chainsaw or whatever and has the monster dead to rights, she's like, "Turn it on."
and she says, "Come get some," and I was like,
It's a really bad. It was a bad line reading. It was cheap.
That also is a problem I have with movies. Happens a lot. She says, "Come get some." Before that, she has the shotgun, shoots it once, and then it like turns around, and then she's like, "Come get some." And then the next thing that happens is the monster throws the chainsaw and she falls over. Like, if you're gonna have a character say something cool like that, let him do one more cool thing before you just deflate
Maybe it's
all of it.
subverting expectations.
So she turns on the chainsaw. Cassie turns on the wood chipper, and they just start hacking at the thing.
Well, and she puts it through, like the kids go through first, which are like attached to the side.
Yeah.
And then Ellie's there, and I think she's like, "Save me," doing the thing where she like
Yeah.
sounds normal again, and Beth is
No, you're not
she's
my
like,
sister.
no,
Dude,
and
like,
chainsaw through the
that
head.
was cool.
Gnarly.
That was awesome. There was a part earlier in the movie, I think in the hallway, and the mom says to the Cassie, she's like, "Don't let her take me away from you." And the daughter's like, "You're not my mom." And you see the Deadite go like, okay, let me try this. I'm your sister. It's a really funny.
I liked that the kid was actually able
because
to
she screwed it up earlier.
Yeah.
Well, and it
When-
like didn't work on either one of them, and it was just funny to see a monster be like, oh, "What else? What's another angle I can take?"
Problem solving
They
in
got
the
their
moment.
bag of tricks because they're tricksters. They're like, what can I use?
So Beth ends up kicking the deadite thing into the wood chipper, and of course it
Blood.
starts to like turn. So there's it's
It's like a
spewing.
sprinkler.
Yeah,
it's like a
everything everywhere.
sprinkler, and there's a shot across the back of the car window. There's some cool.
Yeah.
From the inside, like rain on
that's
the.
good.
that was
And then
cool.
our
On your wedding day?
like good advice.
Yeah.
that you just can't take. Yeah. So they end up leaving, and of course we should say that at the end of the opening sequence of this movie, we get a flashback, not a flash, but it flashes back, and it says one day earlier, and then our character who is possessed in the beginning of the movie, we see her not possessed in here, walking downstairs, and I do like this where she's kind of oblivious. She gets to her car
Cell
and she
phones,
starts
man.
looking around. She was like, "What is there's just viscera
Here's-
everywhere."
This is an important learning moment because my son was with me, and I go, if you ever are in a parking garage and you see blood splattered all over the place, do not get out of your vehicle. Do not inspect it.
Just yeah.
The whole like,
something's
what's
wrong.
what's going on over here? Like, even if
My
you want,
stars.
if
What's
you want to be a
happening?
good Samaritan, that's fine. But
oh
you
my
get,
stars and
get
garters.
in the car and get a little phone call
was
going.
was
you know?
was the viscera where the chunks were they wiggling around?
Yes,
That's-
yes, there was definitely pieces that were moving,
Yeah.
and that's how it ends. Is her getting possessed.
Was there an after credits thing? I left.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm glad I left.
Apparently, there was a fly noise buzzing around. That's yeah.
That's Thanos.
At the very end of the credits, you hear a fly buzzing.
I did.
Okay.
There was a moment where I thought when she got out and it got the little girl, we were just gonna hear that kid screaming and see blood like fly up
Oh, my
from behind the car. I would have been like, "All right, okay."
I thought they were gonna do it. I did
That's what I'm saying. Like in these movies, you're never sure. Like
Yeah,
you know,
they don't
there's-
kill kids very much. That's just
It's-
art house horror.
Halloween Ends. They kill a kid in that one.
And that is a great
it's
movie.
fantastic. No, I think I enjoyed a lot of this movie. I had, like I said, I had some issues with the two, Bridget and Dan, were the two that I was like, if you could just get rid of them, that'd be great.
I'm gonna make you a cut. I'm just gonna cut out anytime.
I'll be
they
like,
say the
"This is
names."
great.
And you'll be- yeah, it's
This is so good.
Would you like my theory now that this movie is right wing propaganda?
Yes,
What have I fallen into?
yes, I do.
So this is just a prism to see the movie through. I don't think that this is what they're
It's
really
a
trying to
pro-life
do.
film.
But so you have a mother who is kind of not liking being a mother anymore.
Okay.
And so they turn her into a monster and they kill her.
Uh-huh.
There's 3 kids. One that I think is probably lesbian.
Absolutely.
One that's trans.
I think one or non-binary.
He's trans.
Oh, really?
That actor is trans in real life. I looked it up because
okay.
I spent the movie going, "Is that kid trans?"
I'm with you.
And kudos to them for not making it a plot point.
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
just
No.
cast trans. Yeah,
Sure.
Okay, but so
Oh my
the
God.
2 kids that are most recognizably members of the LGBTQ community,
Mm-hmm.
they get killed.
And not in like off screen.
Right,
Like in
they-
pretty awful ways.
Those 2 get killed.
Deserved ways. Yeah, I agree. Go on. Go on.
So-
Liberty Truth Pizza. Here we go.
And then the only 2 people that make it out alive are the little girl, who best we can tell at this point is heteronormative,
Uh-huh.
and the woman who's pregnant with an unborn child.
Wow.
How do they get the elevator to work? How do they make their way to the elevator in that final hallway scene? They literally pry a shotgun from the cold, dead hands of a man.
Oh my God. I mean, you're not wrong about any of that. Those
That
are
was an
all
interesting read
You
on
might
this
be
film.
wrong.
I think you're wrong, but that's interesting.
The issue here is that they put a trans person in a movie,
right.
and that pretty much negates all of that.
yeah.
And if it was right-wing propaganda, it would have been like a burly dude with a mustache and lipstick, you know.
And the hero would have been
Insisting
the,
on using the women's bathroom.
Yeah,
and the hero
right.
would have been the old shotgun guy.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
He would have been the new
Yes.
Ash.
I tell ya,
Yes.
me
What's
and-
his name? I'm Ashley Williams.
Me and a buddy of mine did start watching through the God's Not Dead movies.
What?
You are a
Do
glutton
you have a
for
pod?
punishment.
We're not. We're not covering those on the
And
Patreon,
we,
right?
we will. And I'll tell you, Tom, never could they be so subtle.
But it's like it was like the Hunt, right? Like
Yeah.
that was the one where they were just like it was supposed to be this.
They couldn't pick a side.
They could not
That
pick
was
a- I
that was
like
my
that movie
biggest
a lot,
problem. I was
but-
like, pick a side and make your movie. Quit
Right.
trying to have it both ways.
That was a fun movie, but
But I really do
That's
want to
crazy
say
pants.
I appreciated the representation because I was thinking about when I was watching the movie, and it's like the horror community. I mean,
it's
LGBTQ.
It is very
has a lot
LGBTQ
of
positive.
yeah, and
big
a lot
time.
of support,
as, it
a lot
as
of
most
fans.
communities, film communities should be.
And I
but-
think that's great to make a horror movie and involve people
and
from
make
that
and make
community.
no mention of it. Like
Right.
just let it be
because they're
Yeah.
just people in the
Just
story.
is.
That's exactly it.
And
Oh,
I,
and she's protesting.
She is protesting.
She's got
She's
those
going to a
signs.
protest.
See?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I think this is.
Coming around.
I'm glad this got a theatrical release. That's kind of the way.
Yeah.
I'm glad anytime a horror flick can get out of streaming and onto the big screen, I think that's good stuff.
why wouldn't you? I mean, it's just
They're
found
money
money
makers, man. Like
Yeah.
even the bad ones make money. Halloween Ends made
movie they
money.
spent-
Wait,
It's-
wait.
What?
Even the bad ones make money.
Oh.
Halloween
I
Ends
never,
make
now,
money.
hold on. Now hold on. I never said it was a good movie.
No, you use it as an example of a
Absolutely.
bad movie.
Said it's
I
the best movie
enjoy-
you've ever seen.
We did it. We did it, guys. We did it.
I said I enjoy that.
Played the long game, but it panned out. So, well, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
Oh, I'm Matt F Basler. I've just put out my brand new couple country singles. I'm a country artist now. I don't do funny jokes anymore.
Well, they could tell by listening.
That explains this episode.
This was one more for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a serious country artist. Look me up on Spotify. You'll see. Matt F Basler. It's not how Tom says it, but that is how it's pronounced. So.
I'm glad that you actually were able to say it a couple times. Do you have a Patreon?
Oh my god.
Yeah, www.patreon.com/real spoilers.
Are you still funny on that one, though?
I think he's hilarious on that one.
Oh, used to be.
Okay.
I guess we haven't recorded one since the country album came out, so we'll find out. This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21. Also, don't forget to check me out on Letterboxd at the same name.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. And don't forget our Patreon, as we just talked about incessantly. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Jernigan gives Harley her cat.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we